One of the most important lessons that I've learned about productivity is that the way you start your day really matters. Waking up on time and going through a sequence of healthy habits can give you the momentum that you need to roll right into your work, while waking up late or waking up without a plan can easily lead to procrastination and wasted time. So today I want to share the morning routine that I've been using recently. It's pretty simple, but it does involve one pretty big change from the way that I used to do things. Though we're going to get to that later because, well, first things first, I just have to get out of bed. And these days I'm waking up at about 6:30 in the morning, and I do this using a pretty simple trick. So if you saw my video that I put out a few years ago about how I used to force myself to get up early, I actually used to use a social media scheduler to schedule a tweet that would go out and tell people that I was being lazy. So to prevent this from going out, I would have to get up before the tweet's scheduled time, turn my computer on, and either move it to the next day or delete it. And for a really long time, this was an incredibly effective way to get up at the time I wanted to get up and to go through my morning routine. But when I tried to use it again earlier this year, I found that it no longer works for me because it led to me actually waking up in the middle of the night worrying that I had slept through my alarm or that something else had gone wrong when the tweet had gone out. So this method was literally giving me anxiety and negatively affecting the quality of my sleep. So what I'm doing now is a lot simpler, but it's just as effective. I just have a second alarm on an iPad downstairs, so I have to actually go downstairs from my room and turn it off, and that alarm is set for about 5 minutes after my main one, which virtually guarantees that I'm never going to hit snooze, and I'm always going to go downstairs and get both alarms turned off and then get into my routine. Next, I feed my cat, I water my plants, and I do some pull-ups. I'm trying to gradually increase the number that I do in the morning, but right now I'm doing just about 10. And this is a good way to actually make sure I feel fully awake, but it's also just another good way to make sure that I stay in shape for rock climbing. And quick tip, if you're gonna use one of these door frame pull-up bars, when you get one, take an old towel and wrap it around the contact points with either a rubber band or some tape. That way it doesn't damage your door frame, because these things can definitely do that if you don't pad out those contact points. So once I've done those pull-ups, I will go outside for about a 10 to 15 minute walk. And this is really casual. I'm not power walking, I'm not out there jogging. I'm just going to get a walk because this was a habit that I used to do every single morning after I graduated from college and I was living back in Iowa, and I really just wanted to add it back in. And while I'm walking, I'll usually listen to a podcast or an audiobook. Right now I'm listening to Wondery's excellent Business Wars podcast, specifically the Biker Wars series about Harley Davidson, along with Children of Ruin by Adrian Tchaikovsky. And both of these I highly recommend, though with Tchaikovsky, you're probably going to want to start with Children of Time, which is the first book in that series. Once I'm back from the walk, it is time for breakfast. But before I get to cooking, I first activate a little routine that I created on my Echo speaker. Alexa, start my morning.
Today, there are 2 events remaining. At 2 p.m. there's podcast interview with The Rock, and at 3 p.m. there's Call Back to Brag.
This lets me know what's on my calendar for the day, it tells me the weather, and then it starts a little morning routine playlist that I created on Spotify, which I'll share down in the description below in case you're interested. For breakfast, I will sometimes make a smoothie, which I made a video all about a couple of months ago, and you can check that out in case you're interested. But recently, I've just been sticking to a very simple wrap: eggs, cheese, bacon, and salsa. And I'll also slice up an apple and, of course, make coffee. And funny little side note about that coffee, a few months ago I actually decided to do a blind taste test pitting the craft roasted expensive beans at my local grocery store with regular old Caribou Coffee dark roast beans. And when I did that, I was surprised to find that I actually liked the Caribou beans better, which was interesting because they were literally half the price. So doing that test actually showed me that it's a good idea to do these kinds of tests on a regular basis to make sure that you're making logical choices instead of just following mere signifiers of quality like price. After breakfast, it is time to do some learning, which usually takes the form of reading, though I don't always just read books. Sometimes I do, but other times I'll dig into a really long article. For example, one that I read recently was Ray Dalio's new article on paradigm shifts, which I found pretty difficult to read personally, but it actually led to me making some changes in the way that I'm investing my money. So I'll have that linked in the description down below as well for anyone who's interested. I do think it is a pretty good read. Anyway, once that's done, it is time to shower. And in my bathroom, I actually keep a small Bluetooth speaker, and I use my showering time as time for vocal practice. About a year ago, I started actual vocal lessons, and I found that singing in the shower is actually a great way to get some real daily practice in. And in addition to that, I've also created several different playlists on Spotify that each target a specific type of practice in singing, like high range training, low range training, etc. So it's really easy to build up a queue and get about 20 minutes of real deliberate practice in. And this is a great complement to the more lengthy sessions I do when I have time and the actual lessons as well. And that's it. it. When I'm done with all this, I'll usually start work at home, or if I'm doing writing or research, I'll usually head out to a coffee shop to do it there. Now, one thing that you might have noticed is missing from this morning routine is working out or going to the gym. And that's actually the big change that I alluded to earlier. After stubbornly telling myself that I needed to work out in the mornings for a really long time, I've learned through experimentation that it's actually better for me to work out in the afternoons. This is a pretty big improvement to my routine for a few key reasons. Number one, I just get to work earlier because I'm not going to the gym for an hour or 90 minutes beforehand. Number two, and this is actually more important, this neatly solves the problem of the afternoon slump. Now, I don't know if you get this, but personally, when it gets around 3 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon, I usually get like this wave of brain fog and it becomes hard to focus. And in the mornings, I don't have this problem. I'm alert, I'm easily able to do my work, but again, when it gets to late afternoon, that ability really starts to diminish. So by going to the gym in the afternoon, I'm able to use more of my morning on work, and then going to the gym is actually a great way to get rid of that brain fog because I'm getting some exercise. Finally, number three, I am much more consistent about putting in that learning time in the mornings. When I was working out in the mornings, I would often feel pressure to get right to work after I got back from the gym, and I've learned from personal experience that I'm much less likely to read during the evenings. And I mention this because even though it's easy to skip since it doesn't seem urgent, I think having this habit of reading or learning every single day is incredibly important. For me, doing this keeps me from stagnating since I'm no longer in school, no longer being forced to learn new things by teachers and professors, but it also often leads me to making connections and getting ideas that I wouldn't have otherwise had. And a lot of times this improves the quality of my work and helps me grow my business. That's why I think you should be making time for this habit as well. And one resource that I'd recommend you check out during this time is Brilliant. Brilliant is a learning website that takes an incredibly active, problem-centric approach to teaching math, science, and computer science. And because they take this active approach to designing all of their courses and their challenges, when you're going through the material, you're actually stretching your brain's problem-solving capabilities. You're becoming a more capable, creative problem solver. Brilliant's library includes over 50 in-depth courses, and they also have a feature called Daily Challenges, where every single day you can log in and get a new problem in a different area, which can expand your horizons and your interests, and again, build that daily learning habit and build your problem-solving skills. So if you want to get started for free, go over to brilliant.org/thomasfrank, and you're going to get free access to those daily challenges. And if you'd like to upgrade your account and get access to their entire course library, be one of the first 200 people to use that link and sign up, and you'll get 20% off your annual premium subscription. Big thanks as always to Brilliant for sponsoring this video and being a big supporter of my channel, and thank you for watching as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so right there to get new videos when they come out here. You can also click right there to get a free copy of my book on how to earn better grades, or check out a couple of other videos on this channel right here and right here. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.